Okay, let's dive right in. If you're building something, well, anything really, but especially if you're in that nonprofit space or maybe just trying to get support for an idea,
Mm-hmm.
there's one thing the material we looked at really, really hammers home.
Yeah, what's that?
Absolute clarity, like crystal clear clarity on who you are and why you exist. It's not just, nice to have, it's presented as the bedrock.
What's really interesting, I think, is how the source positions this.
Hmm.
It's not just about having a mission statement you kind of stick on a website somewhere.
Right.
It's framed as the absolute essential step before you ask anyone for, well, anything. Before paperwork, before grants.
Before you even tell people what you're doing, really.
Exactly. You need this clarity first.
Yeah, it's like it's the prerequisite because if you don't have it, the message just gets fuzzy, right?
Totally fuzzy.
Mm.
And let's be honest, the source uses this great phrase, doesn't it? Funders can smell mess from a mile away.
Yeah, it's memorable. So this foundational work, it's really about making sure you don't smell like mess.
Exactly. It's about defining that core identity,
Mm.
making it so clear that everyone gets the heartbeat of what you're trying to build.
Okay.
And the source material we dug into, it boils this whole thing down into three
Mm.
sort of critical pillars you need to get straight.
The big three. Okay, I remember this. It's your mission, your vision, and your values.
Yep, those are the components, the foundation.
So where do we start? Mission.
Let's start with mission. The material says it's pretty straightforward. It answers just two core questions.
Which are?
What do you actually do? And, crucially, for whom do you do it?
And it really pushes for keeping it plain, right? Simple, short.
Oh, definitely. No jargon, no long rambling sentences, just the core thing you do and who you do it for.
The example they gave was great, I thought. So direct.
Yeah, it was, we provide trauma-informed after-school programs for Black youth in East Cleveland.
To help them thrive academically and emotionally. Boom! You hear that, you instantly get the what, the who, and like a strong sense of the why behind it.
It's basically your elevator pitch for what happens day to day.
Right.
So for you listening, as you think about this, the source prompts you to ask, what is the actual concrete action you take?
Okay.
Who specifically benefits from that action?
Hmm.
And why is that action for that group? Why does it matter? Get those answers, and you're starting to shape your mission.
Okay, so that's mission, the what and for whom right now. What about vision? That's different.
Yeah, vision is the future dream. It's looking ahead. It's aspirational.
So answers.
It answers, what does the world actually look like, or maybe just your community look like, if you succeed, like wildly succeed?
Ah, okay. If you achieve everything you set out to do.
Exactly. What's the ultimate outcome?
The example vision they gave was powerful too, connecting back to the mission. Something like, our vision is a community where every Black child feels safe, supported, and limitless.
Yeah. See how that shifts? It's not about the after-school program itself anymore.
No, it's about the big picture impact, the world they want to create for those kids.
Right. So for you, the question to wrestle with is, what's the big positive change you want to see happen in your community or your field? Because your work exists over the long haul. You need to paint that picture.
Got it. Mission now, vision future. And the third pillar was values.
Values. Yeah, this is the core of how you do everything.
Or you were.
Exactly. What do you stand for? What are your non-negotiables? The principles that guide, every decision, every interaction, even when it's tough.
Okay. And the source listed some examples tied to that mission and vision, didn't it? Things like
Cultural pride, accountability, community voice.
radical joy. I like that one.
Yeah. And these aren't just like nice words you put on the poster. They should define the culture, how you treat people, staff, the community you serve, partners, all of it.
Right. They tell you how the mission gets accomplished. So
Yeah.
for you listening, what do you really fundamentally believe in? What are those core principles everyone involved just has to live by?
What won't you compromise on, ever? Even if it makes things harder sometimes. That's your values.
So mission, vision, values. Defining them sounds straightforward enough, maybe.
Sounds it. But actually getting them nailed down so they're clear and everyone shares that understanding, well, that's the real work, isn't it?
It really is. And the source material actually gives a pretty practical exercise for this. Almost surprisingly simple.
What's the first step?
It says gather your core team. Not necessarily everyone in the organization, but the key people. The ones who really get it, who feel that heartbeat.
Right, the nucleus? Then what?
Then together you actually sit down and ask and answer those three key questions we just talked through.
So literally ask, what do we do and for whom?
Yep. And what's the change we want to see if we really succeed?
Okay. And the values one. What principles guide how we do everything?
Got it. And crucially, don't just chat about it. Write it down.
Get it on paper, even if it's messy at first.
Exactly. Get those first thoughts down.
And then comes a step that I think often gets missed, but the source says is vital.
Which is, read it aloud. Just say the words out loud.
Yeah. Seriously. Say your draft mission, your vision, your values out loud. How does it actually sound? Does it flow? Is it clunky? Is it clear immediately? Or does it make you pause and go, huh?
That makes sense. You catch the awkward bits that way. The parts that are still too complicated or, jargony.
Precisely. Which leads right into the final step, which can be the hardest.
Let me guess. Simplify.
Cut the fluff. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Keep refining it until each statement is concise, clear, and feels undeniably true.
Okay, so do the exercise, get it written, read it aloud, simplify. Makes sense.
And the reason doing this work, getting these statements really tight and clear before you go looking for money or support, it brings us back to that memorable phrase.
Funders can smell mess.
Exactly. This clarity isn't just for your internal team or your website about his page.
No, the source calls it the organization's heartbeat.
Right. And here's the kicker. If the people closest to that heart, your board members, your core staff, your key volunteers, maybe even the person writing your grant proposals,
If they can't clearly and consistently repeat or at least summarize that mission, vision, and values,
then you're probably not ready. Not ready to ask for external support. You need to go back and refine it some more.
because if your own team is kind of fuzzy on who you are and why you're here,
How can you possibly expect a potential funder, someone who knows basically nothing about you, to just get it instantly?
yeah, that's a really good point. The mess isn't just messy words.
No, it reflects an underlying lack of internal alignment, a lack of shared understanding. And funders, they're good at picking up on that inconsistency, that uncertainty.
It signals risk, I suppose. Lack of clarity probably looks like lack of focus or maybe a lack of shared purpose.
Which makes investing in you feel like more of a gamble, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely would. So doing this hard internal work of defining these things clearly, it's literally laying the groundwork to be seen as credible, focused, investable even.
It's the huge difference between just having a great idea in your head
Mhm.
and having a great articulated idea that other people can actually understand, believe in, and ultimately support.
So, okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's maybe something for you to think about. How much does your external success, getting funding, attracting volunteers, making the impact you want, how much does that really depend on getting this internal clarity and alignment right first?
That's a great question to leave people with.
Is this seemingly simple task, defining your purpose, your principles, is it just a planning exercise? Or could it actually be the most powerful tool you have for unlocking the support you need to make that vision, that dream, a reality?